Kyle here from allmediareviews.blogspot.com. I'm here to do today a video showing my collection, my story and history about, it's kind of long awaited, about the band Mew. Yeah, because I remember when I first started making videos, I was making some videos about some different artists, some of them more recent, and I wanted to make a video about Mew because they're really a favorite of mine and I never got around to it. So finally going to do it today, and I tracked down my entire collection. I wish this wouldn't stop shaking like that, for the most part at least. So, I don't know how to do this. I could either tell the story or just show the collection. I guess I'll do is tell the story briefly as I can. So, the deal is, and that's where this comes into play, in the summer of 2006, I went to go to see the band Muse, M-U-S-E, play in Minneapolis at the State Theater, and there was a girl out there that had the sticker for the band Mew, and these stickers she was just handing out to people. She was actually not the one who had the agenda to do that, but she was doing it for a friend or boyfriend, I don't know who it was, who couldn't make the show. So she had like hundreds of, maybe thousands, or hundreds of these black and the glass-handed kites stickers, or I think it was black rectangular. I may still have some. Maybe I'll show it sometime. I probably do have a few. But so what happened was I was hanging around after the show, the Muse show, and I met her, and I'd actually been introduced to the band Mew. I checked them out not that recently before that, in the summer of 2006, and I didn't like them. And that was the thing about it, is I bought their CD, and I guess that's what I can sort of do. I think I bought this. I don't know how much I paid. And the glass-handed kites, and I just didn't like it at all. I thought the vocals sounded like Enya. It was way too high. It was like, I couldn't deal with it. I don't know why people like them, and I'll go more into the details, but so she was giving me, she couldn't give that many stickers away, and she had to go, and I told her I go to a lot of concerts. I've heard of Mew. I know people that probably like them that would be interested in the stickers maybe. So she gave me a couple hundred of those things, and I ended up giving them away to different people over the course of a few years after that. So, but at that point I still wasn't a fan. But I was thinking of doing it. There was this site called lala.com. I don't know if it's still around. I kind of doubt it. But what you do is it was a trading exchange site. You don't like a CD and someone else has a CD that you were looking for, you would trade it. You'd say, okay, if you don't like Mew, I'll give you my Mew CD, and just the CD. I don't think typically you'd even send it with the books, but anyway. So I was about to send this thing away. I came really close, and then one day I was talking to some people online and see some more discussion about Mew. That was August of 2006, and I said, all right, I'll give it one more chance. And I did like more of it, but then I was told to listen to, specifically on the Mike Portnoy forum, there were some topics. The previous album, Frangers, and that album worked better for me, and I was like, oh, I kind of like this band. I'm surprised that the vocals are kind of now clicking with me. So that's what happened. So then I became a fan. I mean, I started listening to them, and the thing is, what they had been mentioned with a few other bands around the mid-2000s, 2005, mainly late 2005, 2006, and 2007. The two other bands I think of, they're European. Mew are from Denmark, but Ocean Size and Pure Reason Revolution were kind of also buzzing around that time. And sadly, Pure Reason Revolution has made a comeback, but Ocean Size isn't around, but Mew is still around in different respects. Anyway, so here's the stuff. I have vinyl behind me, and then here's all the CDs. I'll go through the CDs first. So I have the debut album, which got reissued, I think it was 2008, 2009. Not that long after I became a fan. A Triumph for Man, which came out in 1997. It's a double disc, this version. The original wasn't, but the thing is, you think about Mew, are they progressive rock? They are, but they're also so much different than the sound of a lot of progressive rock. But the members of Mew, they're all from Denmark. Jonas Bjerre, he's the lead singer. People think of him the most, probably, B-J-E-R-R-E. Him, Bo Madsen, the guitarist, I believe, Johan Wallert, the bass player, and the drummer Silas, I forget his last name. Those four formed the band basically in the mid-90s. I think they're about the same age as me. They probably finished high school, finished whatever, secondary or whatever you want to call it, around that time. And so they formed the band not that long after it. They're 95, 96. So, but this record, Triumph for Man, honestly, I've had it, like when they reissued it, I've had it for over 10 years, and I've probably listened to it less than 10 times. I just listened to it again this past week, and I'm struck by how much there's a My Bloody Valentine influence with it, but they're also fans of Genesis, which is weird. So I mean, you can sort of understand where the prog kind of came in, but there's definitely like a shoegaze element. But I mean, the other thing that strikes me about this album and the next album I'm going to talk to in a few minutes is that it's some of these songs. The one that namely would end up on Frengers, a different version. I think it was She Came Home from Christmas. That's the one. But Coffee Break is probably one of the other go-tos on this album. It's some of the guitar, the distorted guitars, the kind of shoegazy distorted guitars, staticky kind of thing. I think of the songs for as much as just sort of the dreamy vocals, but the other kind of thoughtful track that I think of this record for is that the one that I think they redid it a couple different times. I Should Have Been a Shinsai, sounds like Shinsai, For You, which sounds like a J-pop song very much. I think it was kind of written and recorded melodically, musically in the J-pop style, even though J-pop wasn't that known in the mid-90s. But Panda's another one I kind of like. Wheels for Me, Wheels Over Me rather. That's one that has been played or put on compilations and stuff, played live I think. So then they put out a couple of years later, Half the World Is Watching Me. Now they really were only known in Denmark for this album, and then even at this point when this album came out, they still were pretty much known as sort of like a European band, but local Denmark band. I mean, that's my impression. That's why I didn't hear a lot of talk about them. Granted, it wasn't. I wouldn't call it traditional prog rock, but just in quote-unquote alternative rock, college rock, indie rock circles, I still don't think they fully had won over a lot of people outside of their native Denmark at this point. But this, like the She Came Home for Christmas, this has a lot of songs that were re-recorded and just improved, I guess you could say, on Frengers. This has more, actually. I mean, I listened to this recently, and the ones I would say, I mean, a lot of them. Comforting Sounds, Symmetry, 156, Am I Rhino, what's the other one? Her Voice Beyond Years. I can barely read this, unfortunately. Her Voice Beyond Her Years. Although in some ways I like some of the versions on here a little more. I mean, they changed some things. Some of them are more jazzy at points. Voices Beyond Her Years. The other track on this record, Half the World Is Watching, that stands out to me, and I didn't really, I got this like around 2008 when they reissued as a double disc as well. I didn't really know it too well until maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I posted something in the blog. It's the song King Christian. That's a terrific track. It's like power pop in a lot of ways. A lot of trumpet and horn sections and very playful and catchy and upbeat. The other song that does remind me of that actually too is the song Saliva. It's almost like they go back to back, I believe, on here. Again, I can barely read this. Saliva, and they both have that kind of playful, happy, melodic sense, which a lot of Muse songs don't really have in like sort of like that happy major key element. But those two. But King Christian I'd put that in my 5 or 10 favorites. For sure in the top 10. So then, that was in 2000, Half the World Is Watching Me. Then their first major label release, they got signed, I don't know what label this is, Columbia, and they released Frengers, which Frengers took, it's almost every track was re-recorded. Behind the Drapes, 8 Flew Over, 1 Was Destroyed, I think they're the only 2. Oh, and She's Spider, which She's Spider on Frengers is, that's maybe, in some ways, I kind of think that's my favorite song by Mew. The riff is just, there's so much energy on that segue and that guitar solo. Sort of the vocals layering toward the end and the climax, just, I love that track. Even though I came to learn the lyrics, and I learned from this Mew fans podcast, the lyrics are pretty dark. A lot of Mew's lyrics are dark. And it's called Frengers. I always thought it was called Frengers. I think probably there's half the fan base probably still calls it Frengers. But it's actually pronounced Frengers, like with a J, but it's Frengers. But, you know, Am I Right? No is terrific. 156, there's like an element to that song that sounds like almost like 80s Yes. It's got like that sort of, the little vocoder box and the synths that kind of complement that. Lyrically, it's kind of, again, kind of creepy in some ways, but comforting sounds. A lot of people, that's a go-to, especially at prog folks. It's like, it's almost 9 minutes. It's very dreamy, and dreamy is like synonymous with a lot of Mew's music, especially this period of time. It's dream pop, so you could say they're a mixture of sort of shoegaze, dream pop, and prog in a nutshell. But that's, again, selling a little short. The song Symmetry has a duet with this, I don't know how old the girl they got. It's on here. I don't have time to look it up. But so it's an outside singer, which they did a couple different times. Snow Brigade, that's a staple live. In fact, Snow Brigade might be one of the tracks that's not on here. That one of the other exceptions. So you got Snow Brigade, She's Spider, and Behind the Drapes. I think, so if you're a Mew fan, you had heard these two albums previously. You only got 3 like all new songs, which in the way that Frengers is like a compilation of these 2 albums plus those, but there's a big difference just in sort of the production and some of the arrangements. But, you know, as a fan, I love all the arrangements, almost like Kevin Gilbert. Fair to Midland, who I'm going to talk about in another video at some point soon, did the same kind of thing with a couple of their records. It's not that uncommon. So, and in 2005, they put out And the Glass-Handed Kites, which is probably their most quote-unquote epic record. So you can tell this one has taken a beating. It's got the sticker and stuff, and but you know, and they've been given criticism, to say the least, for their. You can see this is just. I really was not feeling when I first got the condition of this book. That's why I had to buy another copy. But this record, at once for people get into it, is some people consider it their best. I don't know. I'm on the fence. They're kind of consistent, but the first, especially initially, the first 6 songs or so. Was it 6? No, yeah, the first 7 tracks. From Circuitry of the Wolf all the way through The Zookeeper's Boy. It's just like one long suite to me, and it's just awesome. I'd say Apocalypso is maybe my sort of go-to favorite, riffy, energetic, epic, you know, inspirational song. The Zookeeper's Boy, that's the tokens, that single and Special, the 2 singles. Zookeeper's Boy is maybe the most sort of moving, goosebumpy. But Why Are You Looking Grave? That has a guest singer on it, an older guy, I think. China Berry Tree. So those are the first 7 songs on this record. The second half, per se, I didn't honestly, I kind of struggled with. I still, even to this day, struggle with. But, you know, the artwork it almost looks like Queen from Bohemian Rhapsody. But I've grown to like a lot of it. And it's not a perfect record for me, but I'd say that Luis Luisa, I have these weird images of just melancholy when I met my wife at the radio station. Even though when he's just singing, what a day I've had, what a day I've had. I kind of have this weird, back in 2011 when I met her, it's depressing. The other thing is with Zookeeper's Boy, I think it is, no, Apocalypso. I always think of this experience going to Lagoon Theater or some movie down in 2006, down after work. Like, I have these, like, images of, like, an experience I had, and it's, like, a fictional story. Down in Lagoon Theater in Minneapolis. And the movie, The Science of Sleep, I always think of for some reason. I told some of the guys in Mew about that at one of the shows I went to. And they were like, oh, you probably, it's like metaphysics, or you're getting some kind of extra messages. It's, like, from your sleep or something. But White Lips Kissed, which there's a Japanese version of that on Spotify. I'd never heard until recently. Saviors of Jazz Ballet is pretty epic. An Envoy to the Open Field, I like the kind of vocal arrangements in that and sort of the textures. I mean, it's the second half is slower. It kind of has a lot of space, but it kind of adds a different kind of vibe to this record, which makes it, and the Glass-Handed Kites, a little more unique. It wasn't the same kind of thing. It wasn't just one long suite. I don't know. I mean, it's not a perfect record, but damn, sometimes I almost feel like it is. It was produced by, I think, Rich Kotze in L.A. in Southern California. They recorded it, which is a little different environment for them, coming off of Frengers. And the other thing I do have is the Zookeeper's Boy single. You can see the quotes on here. Best Danish Band 2005, and Cocteau Twins, meets Jagged 80s Underground Freak Sonic 2. So Cocteau Twins, My Bloody Valentine. I mean, they have some prog influence, but they definitely have other influences. They were Smashing Pumpkins fans and Nirvana fans, I assume. But it's nice to have the Zookeeper's Boys single. It has the radio edit. Is that all it has on here? It's weird because this doesn't really... And they toured with Secret Machines, Broken Social Scene, and Block Party. I remember hearing about the Block Party tour. It didn't come here. And I'm now spacing on the band that I saw them open for in 2006. I saw them twice within 3 weeks. The second time I only saw it when they headlined. I only saw like toward the end of it because Caddisfly was playing the same night. That will be a story I'll save for another video. So in 2009, they end up releasing the next album. The thing about it is this is the last album, the last album they made with that sort of original lineup, because then Johan Wollert, the bass player, ended up leaving mainly for family reasons. So they released their first album without him, No More Stories, which is a much longer title, as you can see. I mean, I could read it all the way off. No more stories are told today. I'm sorry they washed away. No more stories. The world is gray. I'm tired. Let's wash away. I think it is. I just thought the Little More Stories thing was kind of a nod to Johan leaving the band, because it took like 3 years, and or 4 years actually, because 2005. And they were, reeling off the success of the Glass-Handed Kites, and but No More Stories is like in the Glass-Handed Kites. It's kind of a suite. All these pictures and everything. It's kind of a suite. It's a sprawling record, just like in the Glass-Handed Kites, and I think of it probably for it as a whole, as opposed to so many individual tracks. Although there's definitely some standout individual tracks, like Sometimes Life Isn't Easy. And what's the other one? The Vaccine, Tricks of the Trade, Hawaii Dream, and Hawaii. I mean, I at one point thought this is their best record, because I was having a hard time having any issue with it. But I've come to kind of conclude that while I love all of it, it doesn't have that sort of it thing that I think of with stone cold perfect flawless records that I get addicted to. And that's why it wasn't my album of the year in 2009 either. But introducing Palace Players, New Terrain. I mean, it's got more like upbeat, well, not upbeat, but more positive kind of tones, as opposed to the sort of melancholy, sad tones of Glass-Handed Kites and of Frengers. But Hawaii, is it Hawaii? No, Cartoons and Macrame Wounds. I think that's actually sort of like an instrumental with some chanting. That or Silas the Magic Car. I'm thinking, Silas the drummer. One of those is instrumental, and one of those very percussive. But yeah, I mean, Sometimes Life Isn't Easy has this piano part that's just almost danceable at the end. But lyrically, it talks about, sometimes life isn't easy. Someone's put a hex on you. You kind of have to not stay down when things get you down. It's an inspirational record. And the other thing I often think of when I hear this record, I think of, for some reason, Harry Potter. I don't know why. The Harry Potter movies, or Harry Potter, like the stories. I don't know. There's something weird about sort of childhood innocence and thinking of magic when I think of this. So, but yeah, it's a great record, and I think even though with the absence of Johan Wollert, the bass player, it came out really good. So I'm going to now show my vinyl and sort of segue into the next stuff. So I'll just go over this quickly. I do have the Frengers vinyl, and I had him sign it when I met him. Now, there was a Frengers vinyl that came out on Record Store Day last year, I think it was, but I didn't get it because it wasn't actually in You can see the, oh geez. You can see the gatefold. I think I opened this up when I saw them one of the times. I think the last time. I've seen Mew live 4 times. 4 times? Yeah. Because I saw them maybe only... yeah, I guess if I consider that encore I saw the second time in 2006 when they headlined at the Fine Line. Yeah, so... and the first time I really wasn't able to talk to them, which was weird. And I had heard they'd been a little bit less frequent to talk to fans at that point, maybe? I don't know. But I was able to talk to them at the shows after those 2. Look at the pink vinyl on Frengers. At the Triple Rock, it was 2015, I think. And then at the in Minneapolis, the late Triple Rock. And then at the I'm blanking on Turf Club in 2017, you know. So, which ironically, that was the one time I saw Mike Van Aert with Biffy Clyro. So there's your pink vinyl for Frengers. So that's Frengers. And then I have the Glass and the Kites, which was a record store day item. I remember the year it came out a few years ago. I met some people online, and this is a really big deal for some people to get this. Here's your And the Glass and the Kites. Man, this is I mean, it's similar to the CD book I just showed. I think this was just black. Oh no, it was clear. I forgot. I think I may have shown this on video, on the record store day video, and my wife and I did one that year. But yeah, I mean, it's a nice gatefold. Or no, it's not a gatefold. I for some reason thought it was. You know. But this book, you know, I mean, again, criticize them for what you will with the artwork. I never really make an issue with the artwork. Just like I don't make a huge issue with some of the lyrics, even though when you read the lyrics after you've heard a song for a long time, they can strike you differently. This is almost like a poster. So, let's see here. Yes, this is, I would call this a poster. What do we got? This would be going on the wall or something. Big Mew poster. They did a bunch of videos, of course, for a lot of these. One of them has like I think it was Comforting Sounds, though, has a floating series like with someone with a dress and a cat's head or something like that. Anyway, so that's the Kites vinyl, and then I kind of waited to get this, and I was so stupid. I did get No More Stories on vinyl eventually. Again, a gatefold on this one. At least this album cover has more color than even Frengers and the Glass and the Kites. If you want to criticize it, you can criticize it, but 180 gram, I think it's 100, something like that. You know, it's not your thin. Which, you know, what is it? What percentage of vinyl now actually is being made that's not 100 or 180 or 200? I don't know. But, you know, the whole reason for doing that is then it holds up and it has more sustainability. You got the blue one and that one. So I'm not going to show this for a long time. So I have the Frengers vinyl as well. So then in 2015, so what, like, I could just say 2015 they put out Plus Minus, but they took a break. 2008 tour, they opened for 9 Inch Nails at one point. They didn't come to Minneapolis. I didn't see them on that tour, but Jonas actually did a collaboration called Apparatic with one of the members of Coldplay and a couple other people I'm forgetting, which is good. It's not Mew, but it's sort of electronic pop, you could call it, of sorts. And then he also did a soundtrack, Jonas Barry, for the movie, something to do with a skyscraper soundtrack. But it was made in some part. I mean, it was in Denmark. I'm not sure. But then they finally put out another record in 2015 after many years of speculation. I thought Mew, just like Ocean Size and Pure Reason Revolution, was going to break up. They didn't, so it was called Plus Minus. And I don't know. I know that Johan Wollert, the bass player, rejoined the band on the tour for this. I'm not sure if he's actually on this record, Plus Minus. But he rejoined the band. And I don't know. I guess I'd have to look it up. I don't believe I have the compact disc for this, but I like Plus Minus a lot. Let's see here. I'm just listening to it. Oh, here I have the CD. It came with the CD. As you can see. They actually had put out a compilation called "Eggs Are Funny," and they had a little fixation the artwork with eggs around this time. But Jonas, let's see here, who they both Johan, yeah. So Johan did rejoin. I should know that trivia. So I guess technically, "And the Glass Handed Kite" wasn't the last album that the sort of original four members all were on. I'd say my favorite on this album by far is the track "Rose," which is the second to last track. It's epic. It is proggy and has this great percussion and this piano part toward the end. And the vocals are great. Kind of inspiring and. This album has not too many songs I don't like. Water Slides and Satellite were the two earliest singles on this album. There's the CD again. And then I was just listening to it today. Witness, Night Believer actually features, of all people, Kimbra. So I got 3 minutes left. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to wrap this up or do a part 2. But I do own 2 other Mew items. I have the Transformers Transformers Rollout, which features the track "Count to 10," which I just listened to again today. It's actually a really good song. I don't remember what year this came out. 2000, maybe 2016. It was the last 6 or 7 years. So I just bought it. I think it's for a video game, not a movie. They made the Transformers movie, but they made a video game. And then they put out in 2017 Visuals, which I actually, now listening to it, I like more than I used to. But Twist Quest would be my go-to on this album, but Nothingness and No Regrets, The Wake of Your Life. I mean, there's some good songs, some weird parts, but the thing is, Bo Madsen left the band before this. That's why this is significant. So I still like it, but it's my least favorite. That's the last album they put out in 2017, so I'm running out of battery or of memory on my camera's memory card, but you can just see Visuals. I don't know if I'll add more in another video or not, but thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. What's your take on Mew? Have you listened to Mew? What's your favorite album, favorite songs? But yeah, I got more videos coming up soon. I got a week and change off after today, so look for that, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.